Good morning, everyone. It is time to get started. So I hope you guys are super excited about our tech time today. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about ways that you can enhance your business with technology and some ways that you can also help prospect in your business. So we are going to take a look at what I call CRS with Georgia MLS. So when you log into Georgia MLS, which is the screen that you should be seeing right now, you will see that once you log in, the quick access screen says Paragon CRS, Transaction Desk, My MLS, IDX, and Online CE. CRS is what we're going to click today. And what CRS stands for is your tax suite for the state of Georgia. What this is CRS is actually a data service.
50.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
How many hundred? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, okay. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. What CRS is a data service that actually goes into the Georgia state records and pulls up all of the tax records. So it is a one-stop shop for all of your state searching. So today we're going to be going through some of the features that you can search and why it is so vital to be able to have this information. So we're going to be searching properties that I have. So we're going to look up in Newton County. Now, the great thing is with property searches, you can actually search by their name, you can search by an address, you can search by subdivision, parcel ID, or an MLS number, which is pretty cool through Georgia MLS. Today, we're going to search all different ways so you can see how they come up. So the first way we'll search, I'm going to use my name. We're going to search by my name. So Stubbs Henderson. Now, when you have hyphenated names, just FYI, it gets a little bit crazy. They don't take hyphens. So I wanted to show you guys that for an example, because a lot of people do have hyphenated names and it does get very frustrating for us because they don't respect hyphens. So make sure you just leave an open space there. So once you click on it, if the property has been listed in the last several years, you will actually see the last listing photo of the property. Across the top, let me tell you what you will find. You will actually see, you can email this property search. You can save it as a PDF. You can print it. Previous report or next report if you have searched multiple reports, or you can save the report. You can also view the MLS information, the most recent MLS information, which is pretty useful. This is the property. Another thing that we'll talk about today is comparables. You can actually look at the comparable properties that have sold that are could be comps for this property, which come in handy. Custom comparables. Prospecting, wow, that could come in handy. And facts and figures. Facts and figures come up the area sales detail reports, trend reports, statistics, commercial sales reports, demographics, directions, trend reports, school reports, subdivision reports, and traffic counts. So we'll go through all that in a moment. Let me tell you what you're going to get with just a property search report. First of all, at the top, you're actually going to see a rough plat of the property. Now, granted, this is not a legal plat. This is just a tax assessor's plat with the dimensions of the property. You're also going to see location, general parcel information. This will tell you here with the general parcel information, the tax ID number, 2010 census tract, the last tax assessor roll year. You're going to see the property summary, how it is, the land use is what it's zoned. So this is a residential use. It's slated for one family, and the square footage. Now, as far as square footage, some counties have this and some counties do not have this. So make sure if it's not on there, that would be why some counties do not put square footage. And the current owner, and if the mailing, what the mailing address is. Now, some other great features through CRS is you can actually pull up the county tax assessor's page from here for Newton County. You can actually look up the current owner's information in white pages, which is very helpful to get phone numbers and information. The sales history tells you pricing and purchase dates. Now, this is great, especially if you are looking up information for your buyer or from a listing standpoint. So you'll see here in 2006, this is when the property was purchased for development. Who was purchased by, then who initially purchased it, who purchased it from that person, how it was purchased in a foreclosure. And then you can see here, obviously namesake, this was my mother that purchased it in 2016. And then I took over from a warranty deed in July. This is what we use on our purchase and sale agreements, our listing agreements, for our deed booking page, or what you would use as you're listing the property if you need this reference. So that's where you can get it from. Next, you'll see the tax assessments. This is great because obviously you want to know appraised value. If any of you don't understand how counties get the millage rate, definitely let me know, because it's very interesting to be able to figure out millage rate and where tax assessors get their assessment. Also, when you're looking at this, make sure that you factor in if you have a buyer. For instance, you see exempt amount, age 65, net income of applicant or spouse is less than $10,000, which is telling me right down here, 2019 taxes, $2493.12. Those are not going to be the same for the next person that purchases if they are under 65 years old. Why? Does anybody know why?
Because then they are no longer exempt.
That's right. They're no longer exempt. So you need to make sure that you tell your buyer to let their lender know that the tax person that, or the person that owned this house prior, had a tax exemption. Because there is a possibility that their taxes will go up within the first year of owning the home, and that will change their mortgage. So this is a great reason for you guys to pay attention to this, because you don't know what kind of a not happy person you will have if that if that buyer's mortgage goes up after the first year because of taxes. All right, so you can also see here the mortgage history. You can see the foreclosure history of who it was, who the person was, and the foreclosure and the case number if you needed that. Property characteristics. This will tell you about the property.
I have a question before you
Yes,
go
ma'am.
too far. Can you scroll back up?
Yes, ma'am.
Under the mortgage history, right there, you see in 2009 she purchased. So does that mean in 2014 she refinanced?
That means in 2000, yes, in 2014 was when the mortgage was refinanced for $142,900, and then in 2015, you see, was when the foreclosure happened. So it could have been a situation of a more than a refinance. It could have been a situation where it was a modification.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and then from here you can see the stories, purchasing. You can also see composite history. You can see what it's made of, things of that nature. Characteristics, lot size, year built, square footage of the lot, acreage. Gotta love that one, 0.12. You can see here the lot number and the district and ward information. And then of course, at the bottom, you will see the FEMA information that it is not in a flood zone, which is X. You can learn more about flood zones at the bottom if you choose to click on that information. And this is what you will see on the general property characteristic sheet. Any questions on this sheet? Quite a lot of information, but some great information for you to be able to do good homework for your buyers, or if you're listing the house. Now, let's jump to some facts and figures, because this is great too. If you're looking for Statistics for a buyer, or you're looking to be able to do more information when you're listing the property. Subdivision is great.
Okay.
All right. This will also
Right.
tell you from a subdivision standpoint, the average and median
Okay,
price points.
Okay.
So you can actually look here and see that in the last 2 years, in this area, in the subdivision, the details, the average turnaround every 3.64 years is the turnaround.
So
Land-
does that mean that the people in that subdivision typically will want to
Move
sell?
every 4 years, they typically
Oh,
move.
okay.
Now, do you think that's pretty good to know if you're listing this house?
Absolutely.
Because what can you find out if you know that?
If you're listing the house,
Yeah, so say I'm listing this house, because I just listed this house last week. So do you think that this would be good information to know who else is coming up on 4 years?
yeah.
Why? What
And
could I do with that
also,
information?
you can put them on a smart plan.
Absolutely. I can go door knock. I can tell them, hey, you know what? I got this house under contract in 36 hours for $5,000 over asking price. You think that's good information? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So this is great information to know, because you can see that there's 64 houses in the subdivision, and that's it. It's an easy door knocking day, right? Other things to know, you can also get area sales trend report, so you can find out about a whole area from here. Commercial, residential. This is great. You can find out traffic counts. And this is the whole traffic count in Georgia, so I'm not going to go through all of that because that's a little much for us right now. But you can, just to let you know, you can actually enter areas. It'll give you latitude and longitude of traffic counts, which I think is pretty cool. Price trend report will tell you what quarter and where it is you're looking at. And then the area detail report, which will tell you from a parcel ID, the ranges and the subdivisions. So I can put in the subdivision, Brookline South. And I can go from August 2000, whoop, I don't want 18, I want 19, 1 to now. And there's the detail report, who sold and what the sales price is. Now, if that's not a great way to add to your CMA, I don't know what is, right? Look at that part, and it gives you the parcel ID number, and it tells you the whole history of when it sold down from the dirt in the last year. Look at that. All right, so let's go back to the property. Any questions on those? I know that was really fast. I want to get a lot of stuff in. Okay. I'm a sucker for this comparables report, and I'll tell you why for a couple different reasons. All right. So what you'll see on this comparables report is some different things. The first thing you're going to see is the average cost per square foot. And this is in the area, and I'll show you where that comes from. Average cost per square foot, housing price index for the area, and the average sales price per tax price ratio. And that's comparable, the average sales price versus the tax appraised ratio. And then it throws in here a Zestimate. Now, I know how we all feel about those, but it's good to know what Zillow's saying, because what's your seller already looked at? Do you think your seller's already looked at Zillow?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you want to know what they've looked at, because that's going to help you have those very smart conversations. Now, you can actually put home improvements on here. Okay, you can add up to 3 improvements to change this number. So when you go back down here, okay, we're going to change a couple things. I'm going to go right here, and it says within a certain distance. All right, This is up or down 20% in acreage, up or down 20% in square footage. That's what's going to automatically come up. It's going to automatically have 0.75 miles, so right at 3/4 of a mile in 12 months. It's going to have residential. You can select all of these kind of different improvements. Look at all these that are comparables or are not. Land use, same thing. Agricultural, commercial, industrial lot. So residential small tract, residential large tract, number of bedrooms or bathrooms. Most of that you don't have to worry with. I'm going to go over here and put that I want it in the same subdivision. And I'm going to click submit. Okay. And what this tells me is there's 9 that come up. There's my subject property. This little Q says sold. That little Q says sale pending. That little Q is sold. This one says foreclosure. All right. And there's none for sale right now. Okay. Also shows you on this the average square footage, acreage, which are all the same, garage size, all the same, no basement, year built, all that kind of stuff. And last sales price and price per square foot. You go back up to the top, and once you hit submit here, it's going to change your numbers up here. Okay. Keep in mind, on average, your tax ratios and your tax dollar per square foot is going to be lower than what you're going to see from the MLS. Why? Because a lot of times you will see that your tax ratios are going to have sales that never show up in MLS, right? Because let's say that this is my house and I decided, oh, well, you know what? My daughter is graduating from high school. I'm going to just, let her get a mortgage on this because she's 18 and she can earn some money, but I'm only going to sell it to her for what I owe on it. Well, maybe I only owe $100,000 on it. So that's what I'm going to sell it to her for, because I'm just Joe Schmo off the street and I don't care about the appraisal values in the neighborhood. That's not my concern, right? Because they don't know. The average person doesn't know about that. So they change it into her name, refinance it. So it's going to come up on tax records as it changed names, but that my daughter paid $100,000 for this house, did not pay what all these other people paid for it, like 10 Wingfoot Way, who sold theirs for $190. Does that make sense? However, that 100 is going to make a big difference when you come up to dollar per square foot up here in the figures. Now, custom comparables are a great way to look at different comparables or pick out specific areas that you want to look at outside
I have
of.
a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't see where you went. Can you go back up?
Yeah.
Oh no. Can you go back?
Okay. Okay, this was the
Okay, right here.
Okay.
Yes, this is the comparison, right?
Right.
So
this is
what
it
number?
is.
Go up. Oh, dang it. It reset. Well, I was gonna ask you, how do you usually get the number for your comparison? I meant for your listing.
Okay. This is only one. This is not a CMA. Okay, let me go through and make that analogy. This is not used just for a CMA. This is for tax purposes and a good baseline for where numbers are coming from on a tax purpose basis. Do I look at this when I'm looking at my CMAs? Yes. But 90% of the time, your tax ratios are going to be lower than your typical CMA that you get for MLS. The reason I look at these are because of what I just said. You could see that there's homes that have sold in here that you do not see on MLS because they were homes that were sold for sale by owner between just a buyer saw a house and bought it, never went through an agent or MLS, or it was a family member. So you want to make sure that you take all comparables into consideration. Does that clarify for everybody?
Yes.
And
Well,
okay, go
I'm
ahead. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I know you're not finished yet, but I was gonna say, I would love to for you to teach us how to do a CMA at some point because I'm always tuned in.
Yeah, well,
But
hang tight because
because
that class is coming up in a couple weeks.
okay, cool. Because
We're doing a full CMA class.
I learned how to do it off of this, so that's why I've always been really confused. Like, well, what number do I take?
Yeah, this is, and I like to use this because this is a good baseline to say, okay, and just to kind of preface from a CMA class, I do 3 different comparables when I do a CMA. I do take this and I use this as one because this helps me know any of the homes that have sold that are not in MLS. I do an MLS one and I do an NAR one, and I'll go through all of that. But I wanted to show you, one, how you can get some great information from CRS that we don't utilize. And the last thing I wanted to show you
I have a
is,
question real quick. I'm so
sure,
sorry.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Will we be having like any classes like in class? Because I mean, this is good, but I'm just an in class person, I
And
guess.
hey, I love in class, but we have not been given the okay on that yet. The only in class we're going to have so far is the command boot camp, and we'll talk about that on team meeting today at 11.
Okay.
Yep. But thank you for asking. And yes, I
Thank you.
love in class. One other thing, and this is probably my favorite thing about CRS. There's 2 ways you can do this. So I'm going to show you this one because we're already in this property. See this little prospecting button? All right. This takes you to where that property is that we have pulled up, right? You see this? Doom, doom, doom. This is the property. We'll go right up here to say prospecting. Is it not going to let me click on it here? Look at you being all crazy. All right, we're going to go back up the other way. Hold on. Okay, we'll go back up here to prospect, the big one. It's going to make me click the big one. All right. Now, why did you do all that? All right, let's try this again. Brookline South. All right, here's Brookline. Now, if you go in and type in a subdivision, you will come up with every address in the subdivision. I'm going to click on prospecting. If it's going to let me. Why are you being crazy on me today? Okay. All right, let's go down in the community. Okay. All right. Whoop, no, go down. Okay. So on the side here, I guess it's going to make me do it by, it's going to make me do it by the owner type.
I'm just giving that to you. Oh, that was pretty good.
Thank you. Over here, you'll see properties found, and it says create labels. See, it says Brookline Community Association. There's no address, so there's no community. We typed in the Brookline community. So if I go back, I'm trying to show you, they've changed my search filters on me here. All of a sudden, this just happened. So I'm trying to find, it used to be that you could search by people's names. So we're going to see if it's going to let me search all of them. So we went in. It's going to take me back to that one. So we're going to try a different way. So you have everyone's name here. So I'm going to click on everybody's name, the little button here. 64 properties. Click on all of them. You guys see that? Keep checked. I'm going to go down here and put 30 results. Okay. Everything's checked. All right. Now I'm going to go and see if it's going to let me, when I click prospecting, it should. And it's not. All right. Old-fashioned way. All right. We're going to go right here to export this list to the CRS results, which should come up in an Excel sheet. So we're going to see if it does, and I'm going to make sure you guys can see it. Whoop, where'd it go? All right, hold on. I'm going to move it and share the screen so you guys can see it. Can you guys see the Excel spreadsheet here?
No,
No, you
we're
can't.
still looking at your CRS.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. You can actually save this Excel spreadsheet and export it or print it as labels.
Oh, can you do that again?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm over here. I'm trying to follow
That's okay.
along with you.
Okay. You see where it says here? Let me go back. Let me take this off. All right. Let me go back to my screen, Sharon. Oh. That's what I was trying to figure out because they changed my prospecting on me and it's messing me up. They've updated it, which is great. And I'm super happy they went back to it. However, I don't want to prospect be a big search like this. So I'm going to try to see if it'll let me prospect this way. All right. So this is Brookline. There's the house. There's my house. All right. So there's where mine is. What we used to be able to do is to go through and click on everything in the subdivision. Now they've changed that. So that's what I'm trying to figure out how to do it again because they did fantastic. Let me see if they'll let me draw a polygon. Let me go down. Let me see if they'll let me do it this way. So this is Brookline. Include selected. And there should be much more than one property found. So let's see, let me take that out. Okay, do you see how all of the properties came up over here on the side? Is everybody with me? Okay. You select, you select all. You create labels. You guys with me?
Yes.
All right. So when the label option comes up, you're going to skip records with no zip code. You're going to skip records with no zip code. You're going to remove duplicates. So if, say it's an investor and it has double duplicates. First name, first for individuals. Owner's address. Include a line for or if you want to do or current resident. Include Mr. or Mrs. I don't like Mr. or Mrs. Include a second line for a second owner. What kind of labels do you have? Starting label here, okay? Word document or PDF, and I'm gonna just say PDF so you guys can see it. You guys see it?
Yes, this is so awesome.
Yep, so that I can peel off, stick on cards or labels, and I'll tell you what I do because I always like working with investors. So I pull out, and you can redo it for only the people that don't live in the house. So you see, like I know Dana because I sold her the house. Dana Merritt lives in 40 Baltusrol Way, right? But you can also go back and see how Larry Lockhart lives in Linkmere. Okay, that's not in the same. So that's an investor. Or you can go down here and say, like me, Kristy Stubbs Henderson lives on Dixie Road. So obviously that person owns a house in the neighborhood but doesn't live there. So they're probably an investor, or that's what you would assume. Or
Say
here.
what? I don't see how I mean, you know these people to where you live there or not, but
No, because what I just looked at was the
I
addresses
don't see
in the
how you're making
subdivision.
the connection.
Yeah, I looked at the addresses in the subdivision. So if I'm in a subdivision and I see like the
Oh, are
street
you
names,
saying that Dixie Road is not in that subdivision?
right, Dixie Road's not in that
Oh, okay,
subdivision.
okay. Okay,
Like,
I'm with you now.
or you can see like Aventura, Florida. Obviously, we're in Covington, Georgia. This is
Okay, okay.
Transcendent Property Managers. So I sent a letter at the beginning of COVID to all of the investors and said, hey, I work with investors. If you would like to have a copy of the reporting for what's going on in your, for your investment, or you're looking to buy other investments or sell investments, let me know. I probably sent out 150 letters talking to investors. Actually got a couple calls back asking about what's going on in the market in Covington. So this is why. This is how you get those numbers. All right. Any questions on that? Hopefully you guys can use that because I think that it's a huge big benefit. And then you can pick out subdivisions. You can pick out different areas. You can do it by zip code.
So do you just buy the labels and put them in your printer and let them print?
Yes, ma'am.
So what happens if you have the one, like I seen on one of the addresses, it was like 5 lines, I want to say. What happens when it's too wide for the label?
If you can see that it's crazy, you can always shrink it and make the size smaller, like make the font smaller, and it'll fit.
All righty, look at you with all the answers.
I've been through it. I've been using this for probably about 6 years. I figured out the prospecting part about 6 years ago.
This is
really
lifesaver.
It really makes
Life changer, should I say?
I don't know about changer, but it definitely makes a huge big push and a huge big benefit when you're trying to do some prospecting to people and you want to work in a specific area. It's great for farming. It's great for door knocking, because then if you decide you want to go into a subdivision or go into a neighborhood and you actually have their names put on stuff, it's pretty impressive. So, all right, guys. Well, that was it for today. It is 10:33, so we're going to wrap up some tech time, give you guys a chance to breathe before we get started with team meeting. Hopefully some of this helps you guys out, get some great information. Please play around with CRS. It's free to us with Georgia MLS, and it really makes a huge big difference. So hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay dry, and I look forward to talking to all of you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.
Thank you, bye.